Hey guys, I'm here with another video today. I wanted to show you some of my PS2 collection, specifically some of my RPGs that I have on PlayStation 2. I love PlayStation 2. I grew up with the console, and I also grew up playing a lot of Japanese role-playing games. So figured I would start with a couple of my Suikoden games. This is Suikoden Part 3. The first two games were on PlayStation 1, and what year was this game released? 2002. This was a little bit, Suikoden Part 1 and 2 were very well received, and Part 3 changed things up a little bit, and because of that, it had more mixed reactions to it, and to this day, people love it or they don't love it. I don't think people outright hate this game, but I like it a lot. I grew up playing it. You get to choose between these three characters. You end up playing all of them throughout the story, but it's divided into chapters, and each character has their own chapters. And Suikoden is always kind of a political drama. An unknown force is searching for the true runes and plans to destroy the world. 3 lives from opposing forces in the Grassland War hold the fate of all living things. Can these 3 discover the secrets of the Flame Champion, find the true runes, and live up to their destiny to forever change history? Unleash the power of 3 in the stunning new RPG, Suikoden 3. Unleash the power of 3. It's kind of an odd sentence. Trinity Sight system lets players experience events from the viewpoints of 3 lead characters. Build a complete castle town full of mini-games and secrets as you uncover the 108 stars of destiny. So one thing about the Suikoden games is there are 108 recruitable characters, which is very different from your average Japanese role-playing game. I always have to use a guide for these games because it would be impossible to recruit the characters on your own. Maybe some people do it, but I always use a guide for these games. In-depth character skill development allows customization of the entire party. That's true. This game has a very cool amount of customization, and you can equip different runes to your characters, which give them different spells and skills, and some runes are passive and some runes are active, meaning some runes give you faster attack or what have you. 3 styles of combat: party battles, one-on-one duels, and strategic group combat. It's another trademark of the Suikoden games is there are 3 gameplay modes. Turn-based battles with the party, one-on-one duels where it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors, and strategic group combat, which is like a real-time strategy type of gameplay where you control your army, and each entry in the series changes it up a little bit, but usually it sticks to this kind of idea pretty close. Pair up characters to fight together, mount fierce beasts, or unleash devastating combo attacks. In Suikoden games, you get 4 to 6 party members. I think Suikoden 4 was the only game that only let you have 4 party members. Usually you have 6. You have up to 6 in your party, which makes sense considering there are 108 playable characters. How else are you going to use all of them? In this game, it was a little bit different because you would pair the characters together. And so basically you would have 6 characters, but 3 sets of 2. And you can have you can recruit, like a griffin and a wolf and a dinosaur, and have characters right on top of them. And that counts for 1. There are 2 characters, but you only get 1 attack when they're linked together on top of each other. 1 player, memory card, 135 kilobytes. Remember memory cards. Rated teen, mild violence, suggestive themes. This game also had a manga for it. At the time, there was a manga based on it. Really cool artwork. Suikoden games always have cool character designs. Items, skills, runes. Blacksmith. In this game, you don't collect weapons. Each character has their own weapon, which you upgrade at the blacksmith. You do find armor though, and you can equip armor and accessories. The appraiser, if you find items that need appraisal, you can go here and then you can sell those items. The trade shop. An interesting thing about Suikoden games is there are trade shops. So if you buy a certain item from a trade shop in one town and go to a town on the other side of the world, you can sell that item there for more or less, and the prices are always changing. But that's a way to make money in the beginning of the game, is to buy from one shop, travel to the other, and sell it there. Education and Training Center. Through repeated combat, your skill points will start to climb, but to convert these to higher skill ranks, you must visit a special center. At such centers, learned skills can be acquired at the cost of a certain number of skill points. Education centers specialize in magic skills, while training centers are more concerned with hand-to-hand combat and defense. Hand-to-hand attack. Every character has attack, agility, magic, defense, those types of skills, and you go to this place to spend skill points and level those up. Different kinds of runes. Each rune has there are no magic points. There's no MP in this game. You have a certain amount of times you can cast each of these spells. For example, level 1 flaming arrows, 60 damage to one foe. You can cast this, for example, 7 times. until you have to go rest and refill it. And then it's less and less. So by level 4, you probably only get to cast it once or twice, depending on your magic strength. Magicians, characters with high magic, can cast a lot. And characters with low magic might not even have level 3. They might only have level 1 and 2 available to them. There are also runes you can equip to refill your magic without having to go rest. So there's a rune, like a magic drain rune, so when you attack, you gain level 1 magic back. And once your level 1 is full, you start gaining level 2, and etc. That's a really cool part of this game, is there's so much you can do with your characters and so many different runes, and as you can see, there's a lot and so many different spells and ways to customize your party. Skills, everybody has a bunch of different skills, which you go to the combat trainer for, as I was discussing previously. Swing raises the speed of weapon swing, and this helps you attack multiple times per round. Accuracy, damage. Sharpshoot raises distance and damage of long-range attacks. There are different ranges of each character's attack. Some are long range, and some characters are medium range, and some are close range. Counterattack, heavy damage, continual attack, freeze, thief. Defense skills: repel, parry, shield protect, armor protect, adrenaline power. And it goes on. So I definitely recommend this game if you're a fan of Japanese role-playing games. It's a little bit dated, maybe in some ways, but I like to play it. I revisit it every couple years, and I don't always finish it, but I have a good time when I do play it. And so while I'm at it, I have Suikoden 5 as well. This game kind of returned to the roots a little bit after Part 3 and Part 4. Kind of experimented with the formula. This one went back to the basics in a way. And this came out at a time when our Japanese role-playing games were beginning to feel stale to a lot of people. So, and this was also at the end of the PS2 lifespan, I believe. So it was a bit overlooked when it was released. I can't see the date. 2006. But I think some fans quite like this one. It's gone up a lot in price on eBay. I think it's at least $60 to buy this used. Tactical formation system allows for over 20 strategic formations in battle. In this game, it's not, you don't just have 2 rows like you do in previous games. In this game, you can pick up different formations, which orient your characters on the battlefield in particular ways that will give you different stat increases. It's pretty interesting. It's a fun thing you collect these throughout the world, and it's a fun thing to collect, and feels good finding a new one that powers you up. 6 battle parties with over 60 playable characters. It's interesting they didn't list the 108. I don't know why they didn't do that, because there are 108 in this game. So why only lists that there is 60? Enhance and customize your character's skills, abilities, weapons, and magic. Fight on land and sea in strategic army skirmishes with hundreds of troops. This was basically an RTS in this version of the game, which is fun. I never am was never the biggest fan of the army battles in Suikoden games. I always kind of dreaded them, to be honest. But I love the rest of the game so much that I tolerate them. They're not bad, it's just not my favorite thing to play. Tragedy and destiny intertwine surrounding the legendary sun runes. In the land of Falena, a prosperous and beautiful country governed by the matriarchy and the benevolent power of the sun rune, civil unrest arises and the queen is forced to use the sun rune to quell the uprising, but at what cost? Journey as the prince in an expansive quest uncovers the mysteries surrounding the sun rune, the civil unrest, and the dark intent of an unknown power in the greatest Suikoden saga yet. This is a huge game. Easily put 60 to 80 to 100 hours in this game. The world is really big, there's a lot to do. A lot of, revisiting old areas to uncover new secrets. I like this game a lot. It's pretty slow in the beginning. That's my only warning. It takes probably about 10 hours at least to start really getting into the main game. The characters are cool and the towns are fun to explore, and there's a lot of different stuff to explore. Black and white manual, unlike Suikoden 3, which was color. Different characters. You play as a prince, hero of the Queendom of Falena, eldest son of Queen Ashtat, commander of the and Commander Farid. Commander Farid is his dad. Farid, Ashtat's husband. That's his dad. That's his mom. And these are all his knights, bodyguards that protect him. Oh, this is the princess. This guy is really strong, George. There are reoccurring characters in the Suikoden games, even though the stories are not connected and the worlds and the universes are not connected always. You can recruit George in pretty much all of the games, and he's always really strong. Controls. Saving the game. Game over. Only problem with Suikoden games is they're not very challenging. In general. You can really make your characters overpowered through different rune setups. And some characters are just inherently very powerful. That's my only complaint, really. Runes, rune types, orb pieces. In this game, you collect orb pieces, which you combine to create runes. Or I think you bring the orbs to a shop and then those are created into runes, something like that. But a lot to collect. Sorry, they're doing construction out there. Hopefully it's not distracting. During the army skirmishes, you create units using different characters, and the different characters you've recruited have different skills that you can use during the skirmishes, and different passive skills and abilities. Really deep game, a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. There are 3 different types of ground units: infantry, cavalry, archery. It's like a rock, paper, scissors relationship between them. And there are also naval units. Similar thing, there are 3 different naval units, and each one is strong against the other or weak against the other. If you're looking for a big Japanese role-playing game to play, I recommend it. But you might need to search for a while to find an affordable copy. I think I got mine for $30 a long time ago. Lastly, I have Shadow Hearts Covenant. I used to have, this is Shadow Hearts Part 2. I used to have Shadow Hearts Part 1. I've owned it a couple times throughout my life. The last time I bought it was probably 2013 or so, and I sold it a couple years ago when I was moving, and I'm not the biggest fan of Part 1, so I figured I'm probably not going to play it again, and it's up in price. I think at the time I sold it for $60 or something, 50. Well, that was a mistake because I recently was like, well, I kind of want to play Shadow Hearts 1. So I go on eBay, and it's $100 at least. Most copies are like $120 now, which is absurd to me. Thankfully, I still have Shadow Hearts Covenant, which is probably a better game in terms of gameplay. It doesn't have... The thing with Shadow Hearts Part 1 is a horror-themed RPG, which is not common. It is very dark. It had a lot of horror elements to the aesthetic and the story, very dark storylines. This game has a lot more levity to it and pretty much removed most of the horror. But it's a great game nonetheless. Released in 2004. Wield the power of the judgment ring to fulfill your destiny. A fantastical world filled with ancient magic, mystical lore, unspeakable curses, and a diabolical plot. Combine split-second timing and skillful combat strategy to master the Judgment Ring's powerful and stackable attacks. It's a unique mechanic in this game is you have to time your attacks on this wheel. This thing, the little needle spins around. You have to get it in the yellow zone or the red zone. The red zone is a critical hit. And you can customize your wheel so that you have maybe like a larger orange space or less orange space and a slightly larger red space. Even items, you have to use this wheel, and buying from shops, you can use this wheel to get a discount. It's pretty cool. Fight as a harmonizer and transform into more than 20 astonishing creatures. You can transform in this game. Your guy transforms into different monsters and powers up. It's like think of a werewolf, which was kind of the concept in the first game. mean, you have a bunch of, it's not just a wolf, but you have a bunch of different monsters you can change into. Strategically utilize your companions to dominate combat with devastating multi-character combos. A lot of really interesting and entertaining characters in this game. 2 discs. Was not the most common thing to have multiple disc PS2 games. More common in the PS1 era. Another black and white manual. The controls. The characters. The story begins. In 1913, guided by a mysterious voice, Yuri saves Alice from Albert Simon, who tried to use Alice's power to aid in the destruction of the world. Yuri was successful in defeating Simon. However, Alice, carrying the burden of Yuri's malice, slips away into an eternal sleep on a train bound to her hometown of Zurich. So 2 years later, Shadowheart's Covenant. In 1915, from a single shot fired, war erupted that encompasses the entire world. This was the beginning of World War I. 1.5 years after the start of World War I, the advancing Imperial German army is determined to take the small village of Domremy in northern France. A patrol led by the Imperial German Army officer Karen Koenig is sent to Domremy, where a monster of terrible power is rumored to live. Once inside the village, an unknown force wipes out Karen's entire patrol. Struggling to remain conscious, she manages to catch a glimpse of the dark-winged demon, reverting to human form. Hit points, magic points, sanity points. Long battles affect the mind as well as the body. The longer the battle, the more evil energy you receive from the monsters. Sanity points show the mental strength of a character and are displayed at the far right adjacent to the HP and MP. When it reaches 0, the character loses his or her sanity and goes berserk. It's a little bit of a frustrating mechanic. I think it's balanced better in this game than it was in the first, but you have to watch your sanity points. Attack, special abilities, crest magic, combos, fusion, it's morphing into the monster. You unlock more monsters in the graveyard. Judgment ring, hit area, strike area, step areas. Modulate areas. Man, I'm so nostalgic for the 2000s era of gaming. I love PlayStation 2. Here are all the characters. The dog is pretty funny. There's this segment in the game where it's like a stealth segment, and the dog, you play as the dog, and he what's the word? It's like in Metal Gear Solid when he presses his back up against the wall. The dog does that. He stands on his legs and puts his arm by his sides like he's Snake from Metal Gear Solid or something. It's really funny. It's an interesting character, kind of weird. The artwork makes it look weirder than it does in the game. Looks like some sort of lolly character in this artwork. You get different dolls, I believe, though. I think that's his weapon, is you can get different dolls. I might be wrong. There's a funny character as well. He's a pro wrestler and vampire. And his weapons are any large object that he comes across, basically. And one segment he picks up a giant mailbox as a weapon, and another it's a tree, etc. Big barrel. It's a funny character. A lot of personality in this game. Yeah, I highly recommend this one. Shadowheart's Covenant. There's great artwork there in the back. I wonder if that website is still up. I'm curious. Anyways, that's it for today. Really appreciate anybody watching. And I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if there's anything you want to see from this channel, or if you have any feedback regarding the audio or anything like that. I'm still waiting for these mic clips to come so I can use my microphone and hopefully have some better audio. That's it. Have a good day, everybody.